I've been stewing with this info in my head nonstop, and I can't seem to get over the icky feeling this entire situation gives me. I have known Abigail since sophomore year in high school. We've been through a lot, and I consider us extremely close. After not seeing each other for a few months due to life circumstances and adulting schedules, we met for dinner last week. Everything was going great, just the usual bullshitting and talking about everything under the sun. The topic of Abigail's wedding came up because I'm also a bridesmaid in it. She proceeded to drop a bomb on me by telling me her fiancé and my ex-boyfriend have been actively hanging out. To top it all off, he's even invited to the wedding. A backstory to the situation. I was with my ex for about 4 years. We lived together and were actively talking about eloping soon. I have a seizure disorder, and one night, when I had one, he proceeded to have intimacy with me while I was unconscious. If it wasn't for the dried fluids on me the next morning, I would have never known because my memory is not worth a shoot after a seizure. Because of the obvious betrayal of trust and boundaries, I immediately kicked him out. This was over 2 years ago, and I still actively struggle with people being around me when I'm having seizures. Therapy has helped a lot, but I'm still not 100% healed from the entire ordeal. Am I blowing this out of proportion? I'm trying with all my might to not make a big scene out of all this. But on the opposite end, I am completely heartbroken that she would even allow him to be invited from the get-go. Mainly, I just need an outsider's perspective on this before I completely melt my brain from thinking about every possible angle of this ordeal in its entirety. Now, for the update. I feel like I need to come back on here after getting some private messages of some people coming for my neck. Yes, I'm well aware I was wrapped. I apologize for not using that word. Any of you could hopefully understand why that's hard for me to use to this day. Anyways, I appreciate all of you for the tough love. In all reality, I would really like to just crawl in a hole and stay there until the end of the year. This discussion has opened a few more doors than I anticipated, but I know it's for the better. Thank you all again. This means a lot more than you will ever know. I'll update once I've gained a bit more footing on my emotions, thoughts. Now for a few important comments. One commenter suggested I should talk with my bestie about the situation and get my ex uninvited from the wedding. I replied that she does, in fact, know. Same with her fiancé. This entire situation sucks. Definitely simmering on stepping away, even though I've spent a fair amount of money on preparation for the wedding. Another commenter questioned why they expect me to be there, saying it's not exactly kind or sensitive of them. A different commenter added, because they don't think it's such a big thing, because it didn't happen to them. So OP is just being dramatic about intimacy with her then BF. I responded, this comment right here. This is exactly why I've quit talking about the situation altogether, because people either understand where I'm coming from or they don't. I lost relationships with people I thought I would have in my life forever because of them saying the simple statement of, but he's your boyfriend? Literally, the most thick-skulled remark to tell someone. It's so traumatic and soul-crushing to share this kind of info with someone only for them to make those exact same remarks that you listed. Thank you for pointing it out because you're 100% right. A third commenter said, that's so disgusting. How does a man get hard and wrap an unconscious woman anyway? I'll never understand, like you can't move or speak. It's like he's wrapping a corpse. How could anyone do that? Then she is okay with her fiancé hanging out with a rapper that makes her a POS too. The frick. I'm so angry for you. I replied, exactly. The events that unfolded that night have changed my relationship with my body-mind for the rest of my life. It was like my entire world burned to the ground in a matter of minutes. Now for the 2-month update. Hi everyone. It's been a rough journey, but I hope you all are going to be proud of the outcome. After wearing rose-colored glasses the last couple of months, they were finally ripped off my face on Sunday. I received the confirmation that he was in fact going to be attending. To also point out, the confirmation was through a very cold text message, treating this as some kind of sarcastic breaking news story. I was truly taken aback because, as I stated, I was in denial that it wouldn't actually happen, but the proof was right in front of me. I had to sit down with myself and my journal to really break my feelings down. After a few hours, I sent a lengthy reply back stating I was, in fact, not going to be attending and to count me out. Along with my reasoning as to why, even though she's well aware of the full story, her response back to me was completely heartbreaking and a cop-out, even though I shouldn't have been surprised. She's not in my corner, you all stated that. I just didn't want to believe it, and doesn't deserve me in hers. I've done so much and spent so much trying to help with this stupid wedding. Should have thrown it out the window or taken myself to get a tattoo. But that's life, and you live and learn. Anyways, sorry for the rambled mess, but I appreciate you all being so kind to me when I truly needed it. I am struggling with the situation because it's hard to wrap my head around her justifications in the message she sent back. But I will be okay. I'm talking to my therapist about it, and we'll work on healing. Sending love to everyone who's kept up with this shit show. Would love to hear everyone's thoughts on the matter, because it's been very therapeutic to me. Then a bit more information from me regarding my friend's thoughts. No problem at all. Although I will warn everyone who reads the following message is going to be pissed off. I know I was. She was literally talking in circles and contradicting herself and her so-called moral compass. Here's the message with names taken out. I expressed my concerns to fiancé's name and always told him I am and always would be on my girl's side regardless. I cannot control who he hangs out with. I don't want to be that person with anyone. Never have, never will. It's a terrible situation with everything, but in this particular event, I have to put fiancé's name first. It's his day, his wedding just like mine. And if he wants someone there, I don't feel right or don't know how to tell him no. That might be crappy of me, and I get it, but it puts me in a weird middle situation that I definitely don't know how to handle best. I fully expected that it would cause you to not want to come. And I completely understand, even though I'd prefer you there, of course. But I knew you would have to do what is best for yourself. But the claim that I don't care, haven't cared, makes me a little speechless. I don't really know how to respond to that, so we'll just leave it. I always have and always will fully support you with whatever you feel you need to do regardless. I'm truly and deeply sorry that this situation has caused you to feel this way about me, and I know nothing I say do at this point will change that. I wish you the best, always. I have fought for her and her idiotic ways ever since we became friends. She's needed me on multiple occasions due to them having relationship issues. He's a jerk, shocker I know, and guess who would drop everything to be there for her? Me. They will not last. I know that's awful for me to say, but it's just the way it is. When asked if the friend knew about the situation with the ex, unfortunately, she's the second person. Mom was first, I told, and it was the morning I kicked him out. She even helped me get a shower and all the ickiness off me because I was hysterical. She will never hear or see from me again, I can tell you that. She's made her bed. Now for a comment from a reader. I'm so sorry. She was never a true friend, and you deserve so much better than that. You don't hurt the people you love like this. You are way better off without her. Cheering on you for your healing journey. You're doing great. Am I the idiot for feeling unsafe in my own home because of my boyfriend's troubled brother? My female 23 boyfriend, 26 his little brother creeps me out, but my boyfriend isn't taking it seriously. I don't know what to do. Hi, I'm not really sure how to handle this situation and would appreciate some advice. I have been with my boyfriend for almost 3 years and we live together. Recently, his parents were arrested, and as a result, his little brother, male 11, has had to move in with us. I understand the situation is complicated, and my boyfriend didn't really have a choice. Obviously, he couldn't just leave his brother with nowhere to go. The thing is, I find his little brother creepy, and I feel horrible even saying that. I know he's a kid, and he's gone through a traumatic experience, but some of the things he does make me really uncomfortable. For instance, he stares at me a lot. Like almost all the time when we're in the same room, I'll catch him just watching me, and it's unsettling. He also has this habit of walking into our bedroom without knocking, especially when my boyfriend is out. I've told him multiple times that he needs to knock, but he either ignores it or just doesn't care. He will shower and use the bathroom with the door wide open, clearly so everyone can see him when walking past, even though I have told him he needs to keep the door closed when he's in there. One time, I had just gotten out of the shower and was in my towel when I walked into the bedroom, and he was just standing there, staring at me. I asked him what he was doing, and he didn't even answer, just kept staring before finally walking away. I brought this up to my boyfriend, but he brushed it off, saying his brother is probably just adjusting to everything and doesn't mean any harm. I lent him my laptop because he said he needed it for homework, and when I got it back, it was completely filled with corn. Like he had downloaded corn, it was in the search history. I told my boyfriend he needed to speak with him, but my boyfriend says it's normal for a boy his age. He just told me to clear the search history and delete what he downloaded. But he is not being normal. He is weirding me out, and I feel bad even saying it. I get that this kid is dealing with a lot. Losing his parents like that is traumatic. But at the same time, I feel like my feelings are being dismissed. My boyfriend says I'm overreacting, but I honestly feel really uncomfortable in my own home now. I even find myself avoiding being alone with his brother because it just feels weird. I don't know if I am overreacting. Like, I understand giving some leeway because of everything that's happened in his life, but he is really weirding me out. Any advice on how to handle this would be really appreciated. Now for a few important comments. Haley Bear suggested getting a lock for the door, getting the kid in therapy, and discussing boundaries and healthy relationships. They also mentioned the possibility of living separately for a while if it's in the best interest. Is this the new trend? Emphasize that the kid really needs therapy, stating that the behavior is not normal and therapy is the only option. Guy who knows more than you expressed concern that the kid has serious issues and needs therapy immediately. They also highlighted the importance of OP's boyfriend taking the situation seriously. Shibimi pointed out that some of the behaviors indicate intimacy trauma or child abuse. They stressed that the boyfriend needs to start acting like a guardian and set boundaries for the child. They also suggested reaching out to DCS or a similar agency for help. Update. Hi guys. I wanted to give you all an update on my post from about 6 weeks ago. It's the only other post on my profile if you haven't seen it. But for a really brief TLDR, my boyfriend's parents were arrested. His 11-year-old brother, Avery, came to live with us. He was doing a lot of behaviors that made me feel uncomfortable and unsettled. First and foremost, thank you all for sending me the love, advice, and well wishes. A lot of you guys pointed out that my boyfriend, Caleb, seemed to be overwhelmed and was just sticking his head in the sand. And honestly, yeah. I sat him down a little while after I posted here, and we spoke about his brother and everything going on, and he just started crying to me. He has cried in front of me maybe twice before, so I knew he was really feeling it. He said he was really sorry for the way he'd been acting and that he was just feeling so stressed that he was just pushing everything down and away. He agreed that Avery's behaviors were unacceptable, and I told him he needed to have a firm conversation with Avery about boundaries, or I just wouldn't be able to live with them much longer. Caleb said he would enforce a change of rules, and then he started sobbing, went gray, and started hyperventilating. I was seriously concerned and confused about what was happening. He said he needed to tell me something. I was comforting him and trying to calm him down, and he told me he was a victim of pretty extreme CSA from his dad, and he thought Avery probably was as well, which we later found out was true. That explained a lot. Why Avery had no awareness of boundaries, why he was displaying these weirdly intimacy behaviors, why we had such low contact with his parents before all this. But I met his parents, met them multiple times. Yeah, we had low contact with them, but I met them. I had been to their house. They just seemed like normal people, nice people. They weren't creepy or scary or weird. I was really shocked at everything Caleb told me. Caleb had been hiding it for so many years, and he felt so ashamed that he hadn't reported it sooner. He said he was really hoping that the abuse hadn't also happened to Avery, and so I think he was trying so hard to ignore any signs that he had. He said he felt responsible because he never reported his dad, which meant the abuse could continue. But I told him none of this was his fault. He has no blame in him being abused or Avery being abused. We sought advice on what to do. We reported what Caleb had said to the police and to social services. Both Avery and Caleb were interviewed, but we haven't heard much back from the police about anything that might happen next. They said it could be a long process if they managed to bring any charges at all. Social services started giving us some more support. Avery has been behaving a lot better since. He's been listening to boundaries more. He's actually changed a lot in the short time since I posted here last. He's come out a bit more as a pretty charming and charismatic boy. Even though, if I'm totally honest, he's still a little weird, but maybe that's to be expected after having the life he had. I got him into Scouts, and he's made a pack of really close friends who have even come over a few times. He's been getting on well with school, although they said he's only on KS1 level work, but I'm sure he'll catch up in time. And even if not, it's not the end of the world. Am I the idiot for telling my wife she can try to take everything lawyer instead, but to talk to my lawyer instead? My wife Anne and I have been married for 13 years. I am 43 and she is 46. We do not have children. When we first began dating, nobody could make me happy like Anne. She always seemed to know exactly the right thing to say to me when I was down. But over the past decade or so, she has really started to show her true colors. And a lot of what her ex-husband said to me about her has begun to make more sense. For example, I have a very high-stress job. People bring me problems, and I fix those problems. But when I get home, 9 times out of 10, Anne just has more problems to throw onto my plate. She doesn't work, so she's free to do anything she wants to solve said problems during the day. But lately, she has even begun making lists of things that she wants me to do after I work all day. But my biggest issue with Anne is that I can't ever really open up to her about anything. Whenever I talk about something bad that happened to me, she'll either try to one-up me or agree with the person who wronged me. Last Friday, I had a horrible day. There was an enormous problem at work that basically all fell on my shoulders to solve. When I was crossing the street after work, I had a green signal, and a bicycle blew through a red and side-clipped me. The cyclist yelled expletives at me and then rode away. I thought about calling the police because it was technically a hit and run, but there was probably nothing they could do. When I got home, desperate, I talked to Anne about what happened. She listened and then immediately took the cyclist's side. I reiterated that the cyclist ran through a red light, to which she responded that cyclists aren't obligated to stop. When I told her she was wrong and tried to put the issue to rest, she began frantically Googling laws. She found that in our state, they can treat lights like a stop sign. She began triumphantly reading the law to me loudly, word for word, getting louder when I kept trying to tell her that I wasn't interested. At the end of her spiel, she gave me this incredibly arrogant look as if she was right. I just stared at her for a second and said that my life would be better without her. She got incredibly upset, shrieked at me until her voice was hoarse, and then packed a bag and left to stay with her parents. She has texted me all weekend demanding an apology, but I haven't responded. Did I do something unforgivable here? Now for a few important comments. One commenter asked what her ex said about her. I replied that he called her a colossal manipulative witch. I nearly hit him when he said that to me. Honestly, if anyone deserves an apology here, it may be him. Another commenter said, "Sounds like problem solved actually. You said what needed saying, and she left. Done and done. Do you need help on first steps for contacting a lawyer or something? Because otherwise, it sounds like you got her out of your house with minimal effort." Someone else pointed out, "Wait, if the cyclist is supposed to treat it like a stop sign, then shouldn't it stop and yield to oncoming traffic, you who has a green light? So she's wrong and still triumphantly claiming victory? Personally, I think you could have elaborated a little on how she sucks the life out of you, but that's me being petty. I hope the best for you." Now for the 12-day update. 2 weeks ago, I had an argument with my wife, Anne. This argument stemmed from Anne's incessant need to contradict me and everything I say. Anne left in a fit of rage to stay with her parents and then kept spamming me with texts demanding an apology. A few days after Anne left, I felt something I hadn't in a long time at home: peace. I didn't have someone nagging me about literally everything I did. I didn't have to eat my meals in the correct order. Something about pH balance that she probably saw from some brain rot creator on TikTok. I didn't have to wash my feet after getting home. I could actually enjoy myself, which is impossible when Anne is around, because I found many years ago that she tends to get the most aggressive when I seem like I'm either in a very good or very bad mood. I then did something I never thought I'd do. I reached out to her ex. He was more than eager to talk about Anne and her shenanigans, so we met up for drinks. He and I both had near-identical experiences with her. Anne is, through and through, a pretty horrible person, especially to her romantic partners. He cited irreconcilable differences for divorcing her, where it was no specific event, but just a long list of terrible interactions and coming to the realization that he detested her as a person. During this time, Anne went silent on me. I used this lull in our relationship to visit a lawyer, who told me that due to the nature of laws in our state and the fact that Anne is able-bodied and educated, the chances of me ever having to pay alimony are basically zero. I called Anne at that point. She, for some reason, still expected an apology. I told her that I wanted a divorce. She threatened to take everything from me. I said she could try, but any further contact should be done through my lawyer. I'm fully happy to split our assets fairly. I'm fairly sure that Anne will agree to any deal that gives her more than half. It's just the way she is. And if it's a 55-45 split, I don't care. All I'll have to do is act like she got the better of me, and since she's an idiot, she'll happily agree. Thanks to everyone who responded in the last post with advice. Tons of you suggested divorce, which I think was what actually got me to consider it seriously.